I would like to welcome our final keynote speakers to the stage. Can Julia Ferraioli, open source AML strategist at Amazon Web Services, and Amanda Casari, staff developer relations engineer at Google, join us to talk to you about back to the open source future?
Well, from one Amanda to another, thank you so much for that lovely introduction and giving us a little more time.
Yes, and I think we'll see the slides on. Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent.
So thank you to the crew in the back for
Yes.
helping us as well. Hello. So we frequently rely upon past history and learned experiences of communities to understand the current state of open source and open technologies. We've had a lot of conversations about that this morning. And today, Julie and I would like to flip that a little bit. We want to explore what the future of open source could be, as opposed to what it must be.
So hello, I'm Julia Ferraioli. I am a self-identified open source optimist at times.
And I'm Amanda Casari, a self-identified open source fleneuse. We find a much richer history, present, and future when we approach open source from beyond a single dimension. As mentioned before, there are many layers which weave through the narratives of open source. And with our work, especially with our joint project, Open Source Stories, we find over and over that there are many ways which humans and communities view their work in relation to each other and also in the wider world that they're a part of. We have the opportunity not just to participate, but rather to lead, building the systems which we want to be in, rather than reacting to the ones that we are placed within. For us, this is the exciting opportunity to examine the future of where we want to be and working backwards from where we are today. So these are the boundaries that we will be approaching to discuss. It's that thin line between what we know now and what could be inevitable with just one more step. And speaking of inevitable steps, welcome to the singing portion of the Planeries. I probably didn't know that you were going to be involved in a massive karaoke today, but we would appreciate as much participation as possible.
It's just for fun.
Just for fun. I will apologize in advance that I'm going to be the yowling cat of this duet.
Okay, everyone, we are going to sing the lyrics and ask for your help on the chorus. So words will be provided, so just do your best, and we'll all get there together, just like open source. Now, we're just coming from FOSDEM, so our voices could really use yours.
Yes, yeah. You'll want to drown out mine especially.
You ready? Pressure pushing down on me, pressing down on you. Open source needs more. Under pressure that sets our pages off, fixing the world's tech at its calling back. Wait a minute.
I think we should do that one more time. They didn't sing. Go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. We'll do it again.
We want to hear you. You can sing better than we can. Come on.
We'll try again. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Pressure pushing down on me, pressing down on you. Open source needs more. Under pressure that sets our pages off, fixing the world's tech at its calling back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There's more.
So we'll jump back and forth between song and content. We usually look at open source through a technical lens. And open source is many layered, intersecting technical systems. There are many aspects to those systems, and they are constantly evolving. So what are we doing now-ish? Well, we're trying to build resilient systems. We are implementing thorough tests, putting into practice a collection of well-established best practices. And for the most part, we know not to pull from the head of the repository. In the not so distant future, this is kind of what our hopes and dreams for open source. Our tools, they're gaining nuance. They take context into account. They are tailored to reduce friction and reduced cognitive load so that we can focus on creating instead of cobbling together often fragile pipelines. And where do we want to be? What's our goal? We want to be in a world where those security issues mentioned earlier are rapidly, responsibly, and realistically mitigated, where proprietary software relies on open source with a grounded understanding of the value and obligations entailed in depending on it.
Okay, we're coming back to the singing part. Everybody ready?
So before they sing, if you do it the first time, we won't have to do it twice.
All right, deep breath.
Deep breath in.
Okay.
It's the terror of knowing what open source is about. Watching some good friends screaming, let me out. What if we find the escape velocity? Imagine the future we want to see. Some of these are a bit of a stretch.
Doing the best, really. Okay, so free, libre, and open source software began and remains a political system. It's rooted in cultures, norms, collective expectations of citizens and communities who come together to create, build, share technology for and with the world. And so as we're looking at this soon, after soon, far, first we start to see information pipelines and technology platforms have an enormous impact to excite and motivate people, but in polarizing ways. What we hope to see soon is that advancing automation technologies continue to accelerate, but this also brings more attention to the larger impacts that demonstrate that open as itself is not a public good. It is part of a larger framework which must continue to evolve to meet the breakthrough changes with humanity and with empathy. And building on that collective and participatory process, we start to agree on global norms and interoperability. And we can rebuild trust with each other. We shift focus towards an equilibrium where access to technology, information, and opportunities to contribute to a global open source ecosystem exists at every level and for every person. The ability to contribute and maintain open source is resource rich rather than resource constrained. And when we look even further beyond that, we do find that escape velocity of our own egos and fragility towards a future beyond this one world. Discussions about geolocation for contributors and project boundaries develop entirely new coordinate systems which eventually extend out beyond the stars. Again. It's the terror of knowing what open source is about. Watching some good friends screaming, let me out. Gave up sending PRs because of burnout. Bots tried to help, but made it worse. Having the same conversations a million times. Why? I'm sorry. One more to go.
One more.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Very encouraging.
Open source is so much more than a repository. Without the people, the social structures, the behavioral norms, or communication, we would not all be here today discussing how to keep open source thriving for the next 10, 20, 100 years. Right now, we're seeing that productivity and free time, they're increasing. We have solid design patterns and transparent frameworks that act as guardrails for the intersection of human, ethics, and machines. And coming soon to an open source near you, these patterns and archetypes have been well defined. Maintainers don't need to consult lawyers for trademark or IP issues. Sorry, lawyers. They can pick their governance and community building paths from established menus. They know how to raise and spend money responsibly and transparently. Where do we want to go? Well, I want to get to the point where we have stopped reinventing the wheel, where we've stopped having those same conversations, and now we're working on the actual hoverboards.
Because now is the best time to move ahead of the chaos towards the future that we want. Last bit, we promise.
Let's build the future we want to see. We can make it a reality. This is our best chance.
She's gonna make you do it again.
This is our best chance. This is open source.
Under pressure. Do 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 do.
Under pressure.
Do 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 do. Pressure.
We're available for bar
Our,
mitzvahs.
wonderful audience.